Yo ho ho! What's going on, guys? This is Grim Reaper back for the 2019 year. We're starting off with Nanatsu no Taizai 295, a spectacular chapter. We got a lot of new things we're gonna try out for this year. Hopefully, over time, within the next 2 to 3 months, you'll start seeing the Boar podcast a little bit different. We're gonna be doing a little bit of different things, installing some new components and new parts to get more interaction from you guys. So stay tuned for that. Like the videos. It's important that you guys like the videos for these next 3 months, so I know what's working, what isn't working. So please, use that as a tool for my development. If you guys are viewing this in the premiere, just go ahead and type hashtag whatever, or, gang, Reaper gang, whatever it is, to let me know you're supporting and shit. But in the meantime, we got some of the Hero Association here. We're on this fucking greatness today. I got Fang Strizer with me. What's good, bro?
Pretty cool, pretty cool. And don't forget to sub also. Don't just leave a like. Don't be a bitch. Also hit that sub button because it's important.
Hit that shit 3 times, so you'll unsub it and sub again. So,
God damn it.
I got Griever with me. What's good, bro?
What's good? Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to the Boar's Hat. Excited to start the new year. And as Fang said, sub, guys. Fucking sub.
Gang. What's going on, Keishan?
Yeah, pretty good. Let's hope this year's good for Taizai and everybody else.
Hell yeah, bro. We got that season 3 coming out.
I mean, shit, dude. This might be the year it might end.
The change has begun.
But let's hop into 295, man. Or before we do that, what are your thoughts on the chapter and your ratings? You guys want to start?
Fuck it, I'll start. Well, I mean, look, this is ultimately a setup chapter. A lot of things could happen. We got a lot of hints here and there. So honestly, I'd give it a nine out of 10. Not really a 10 out of 10 material, but a 9 surely, absolutely.
All right. What's up, Griever?
I'm going to give it an 8.5. It's not quite a 9 for me just because for me there wasn't a lot of stuff happened and we'll get into it, but no major wow, holy shit moment for me. And that's usually what keeps me from giving it a 10 or a 9 is I want to see that wow factor, either a favorite character doing something amazing or something. And this was dialogue heavy, a lot of stuff going down, as Fang said. There's a lot of threads that could go one way or another, which is exciting, but no big wow factor for me. So 8.5, still a great chapter.
I'd probably give it an 8, mostly because I got to see one of King's forms that I've been wanting to see with his new power-up.
Yeah.
So that was probably my hypest moment. Thing's a monster. But yeah, overall it was enjoyable, minus some of the more technical aspects of translation issues, but so I'd just give it a solid 8.
Hell yeah. I think I read, I'm not sure if I read the same translation as you guys, but it was pretty solid besides 1 or 2 parts. I give this chapter a 9, just like Fang gave it, I guess. I love the information that we got. Seeing all these niggas in action, or basically the sewing of the next few plot points. It started in this chapter, and it's interesting to see. We were talking about it before the podcast that there's so many different things that could happen, and there's so many different elements that could spring up. For example, the sentience of the 10 Commandments now, or the commandments as an entity, as an entity now. The possibility of King, or excuse me, the describing or maybe even the nerfing of King and his powers, and we'll see how that works out, turns out in the story. Zeldris at the end of the chapter, how we got his little emotional declaration there, which is gonna be super interesting, and it alludes to different story elements. Is he really gonna get what he needs? Is something gonna stop him before he gets to that, or something like that? Regular stereotypical shit. And then, well, before we even get into that, let's start from the top of the chapter so we don't get out of order and shit. So to start us off and shit, the Chastity Folk and King. What did you guys think about the information that we learned about him?
Honestly, I think it's perfect because King already, and I didn't think he would be this powerful. I thought when he bodied Mael, that was because Miles' body had trouble absorbing the commandments. But it makes sense now why King would be so powerful. And also, keep in mind, like, he's controlling that fucking thing from like kilometers away. So the fact that it mentioned that he consumes a lot of magical power while doing so, plus he can only use one form, that makes it cool for me in many ways, because if he can just spam like all 10 different forms at once, yeah, he's gonna be really overpowered. And this whole thing of immediate urgency I like, because we didn't have this knowledge of because personally I thought with Mael, I thought he would have the commandments on him, like not absorbed within his body, but think of it like an RPG where you have like some items in your like backpack or something. So I thought he would still have them, but not have them be absorbed.
Exactly.
So because we have this information that they're rushing towards Meliodas, it brings that sense of urgency. So it makes sense why King would try to use Festival from that much of a distance. And yeah, using the fourth for like Sunflower was powerful as fuck. Because keep in mind, Zildris basically nullified the brunt of the attack and it still dealt massive damage to the environment. Number one, number two, it reminded me of Yoko Kurama from like Yu Yu Hakusho, like those man-eating plants used against Karasu in the World Tournament. They that look really savage, especially like the teeth part. So I kind of got a flashback about that, which was really cool. But yeah, that's kind of about what I have to say about King. And also, in the next couple of chapters, yeah, he will be nerfed because he did mention every translations are accurate because we still have to wait for the manga stream one. But he did mention that controlling Chastiva from such a great distance does consume a huge amount of like magical power. So we'll see where that will go.
I think it is feeling that accordingly
This
though, that as he gets closer to this battle situation, he should be more potent and stronger. Um,
mm-hmm.
and I guess like it makes sense. We just haven't gotten a variance in terms of strength as that like that being displayed for anybody else. We've never seen anybody else get weaker as they try and like establish their influence over a large distance. So it's cool to have that there, but it'll still come to the scenario that once King shows him on the battlefield, he's gonna have 10, 10 forms to fuck with, plus the remaining of his magic that's still left there. So I'm kind of curious as to like. Well, before I go on, what's up, Griever and Keisha?
Well, here's I like and dislike parts of this fight. I kind of I like the fact that King has officially been established because, like Fang said, I assumed that Male Esterosa's form was this corrupted fusion, and he was exuding mana, and it wasn't a true form, and that's why King was able to like totally bitch slap him. I like the fact that King, it sounds like he is limited, and it sounds like, once again, not confirmed in the story as far as I'm aware, but they do have a set mana pool almost, and they can run out of MP, because otherwise why would King say, what's worse, it's exhausting too much magic at too great a rate? That means there is a limited supply, to my mind. And I'm glad for this. That means that King's not another Merlin showing up, and we all have our thoughts about Merlin, but he's actually saying, oh, well, I can only, I might have all these great powers, but I can only do so much from so great a distance, and I have to go there and, start beating down quickly, otherwise I am going to run out, sort of idea. So he's not been nerfed, but he's not OP to a stupid level. The upsetting part is the fact that this is taking away a little bit of the hype from the original demon for me. This guy was hyped up to be this impossibly strong dude. For King to just show up and be able to crack this shield and push the center demon this far from the distance, and then King explaining that he can only do one form at a time, yet this great a distance he's still able to do that to the center demon. I feel like it takes away a lot of the hype of the center demon for me, and that's the part I don't like. But as far as King goes, I like where that's going. I like the fact that he's able to use all these badass forms and stuff, and it seems like he's not been nerfed, but is being explained well for power scaling, if that makes sense.
Keisha?
Yeah, I like kind of the explanation to why he's only able to use one form while at such a great distance. It does show that he's not become this overpowered force, as it's already been stated. So, and yeah, the did anyone else kind of notice that, like, I was like, oh god, the spear just got destroyed?
Yeah, that happened.
That scared me.
That happened against
Yeah.
Helbram too. Helbram was able to cut the spear in half, but it reforms accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of scared me when that happened. Because I was like,
I mean,
damn it, I thought
even
he's
Chandler
stronger.
was able to cut it at one point.
True.
But it's been mentioned like several times that the Spirit Spear basically has the regeneration ability. So even if you cut it down into pieces, because I mean, King with his ability disaster, that's what he's doing. He's reforming it at a molecular level to basically transform it in between forms, as far as I understand. Because King can only manipulate it that way because he has this power. Does it,
Disaster.
disaster? Yeah. So
Yeah,
even if you cut it in half, it will still be able to regenerate and form into another form.
it's technically indestructible.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it is overpowered.
Yeah. Well, no, but I do like the fact that we did see the Sinner Demon be able to cut it, and it seems with relative ease, just 2 slashes of his sword, and boom, he cut the spear. It's not like he went ting, sort of idea
Yeah.
against it,
Mhm.
because it is showing a little bit. Because as I said, I'm quite disappointed with the performance of the Sinner Demon in this chapter.
Well,
So
I do
I'm
have a
glad.
small theory because again I mentioned a lot of things could happen, but one thing is if you looked at when Merashira's commandment like joins with the other four, we see like a brief panel of the Sinner Demon's face, and he's like, oh, so he might be thinking
Yeah.
of absorbing those five. You
Yeah.
never know. I mean, he is the sinner and the betrayer for a reason.
It
Oh, true enough.
I was speculating this when I read it too. I did a little review with Zarso. That
Because I mean, why have that panel with his face? They're like, oh,
that
I suppose. Yeah.
uh in consequence to the fact that whenever we first learned about their splitting, there were two souls. They were given the command to then serve in complete injunction and servitude to Meliodas and Zeldris, and to be their teachers. And to me, that
mm-hmm.
explains that they didn't really tell us that there was a curse or there was like some type of magic being working for them or working for that to cause them to have that effect. But to me, it makes most sense. Firstly, because the question is, why were they able to reunite themselves so easily? So to
With
answer
no
that,
consequence.
exactly. So to answer that, I'm assuming that
Well, no, that there is a consequence,
hold on a second.
quite a huge one if you think about it.
Hold on a second. So with them being formed together, and then the Demon King doesn't come back, and like they were allowed to join back together. My thoughts were that the command that Demon King gave them to assist them must be superiorly powerful, or must be sufficiently powerful. But then we get this little smile that he put at the end of the chapter whenever the commandments were running through. Half of them, no doubt, but this gives credence, or this may be the reason why Nakaba didn't tell us exactly why they can reform when they were separated for a purpose. If you get what I'm saying, like what there may indeed be a scheme with the inner demon or the original demon for sure now, for sure.
True enough.
Well, if you look at it, you said there's no consequence. There is one, quite a heavy one, because they were split into two. So they essentially from one being became two with ideals, desires. Sure, they had this they desire that put in by Demon King to protect his sons, but when they were fusing. Kusak told Zildus like, "I hope you become more powerful than me. I hope you achieve your dreams." Blah blah. And even Chandler was looking at Meliodas in the cocoon and said, "I hope you'll become the next demon." Like the way they were talking, it was as if they would
Die.
just cease to exist, not dying in the traditional sense, but they ceased to exist as beings because they were forming into one again. So they essentially ceased to exist at that point, and the original demon, came back into existence. In that case, they fused back into him.
I mean, I see what you're saying, Fang. I see that you're saying that that is their consequence. They're going to lose their individuality, sort of idea. That is a
Mm-hmm.
consequence, if you want to look at it that way. My problem with that is that from the Demon King's perspective, that's not a consequence because that was his punishment. Now he's basically allowed to basically go Goku Vegeta fusion back into an Ultimate Fighter with no consequence for his actions previously? Why is he allowed to be able to do that if that's the form that he took to basically try to take down the Demon King? Why is he able to just pull that out on a whim? Shouldn't it be Zeldris? Maybe the power, like Zeldris can command it or something. His sons
Or
were getting.
Okay,
releases some
let me
kind of
ask you this
seal
question.
on him or something.
Right.
Let's think about this logically, right? Did Kusaka and Chandler fusing into the inner demon, into the original, Silsila demon, benefited their situation, and was it in the benefit of the Demon King overall? Because keep in mind, the Demon King's goal is to make Meliodas the next Demon King. So would them fusing be helpful towards that goal?
Potentially, but as we've all speculated, that smile at the end of the chapter could mean, Meliodas is going to become Demon King. We've succeeded. Or it could be, all the commandments are back in place. I'm going to
I
swipe
mean,
them.
sure,
I mean, until we
sure,
have more information, as you were pointing out, this chapter leaves a lot of questions at the
exactly.
end.
The only other thing that we're not accounting for completely is that when the rebellion occurred, it was under the power of Ten Commandments as well. So it may be that without the Ten Commandments, the form is inferior enough to not require a Demon King oversight or a certain spell to stop them from unifying again. That would be my first assumption, that they're not, the OG demon isn't strong enough without Ten Commandments to cause the Demon King to work, because it was only with the addition of the Ten Commandments after its creation that became such a problem.
Well, actually, that's wrong, because the Demon King created the original the demon first and rebelled, and then to prevent another one of his creatures from rebelling, then he created the Ten Commandments. So first it was the original demon, then the Ten Commandments, but they
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
have anything to do with one another.
Yeah, I was under the impression Fang's right there, Grimm. I didn't think that the original demon was the first creation when the Demon King was fighting. We don't know who. I've made speculation videos about that. We don't know who. It could be the other six crown princes of hell or something if we're going off of religious mythologies and stuff.
Hold on.
But
You guys got to pull up chapters of this because I didn't read that anywhere. What I read was that the Demon King conquered the demon world, and then he made
yep.
An original demon and gave it 10 commandments because his power was too
Oh
great.
no.
No.
He created a herald to help him conquer the demon realm. He created the original demon to lead his armies to conquer the demon realm the first time. He didn't have it conquered.
Conquering something, you're fighting somebody.
Right.
It
So
can't just be
was
random low ass demons. They'd be easily wiped
Yes, I'm
out.
saying you guys gotta show me the panel of that because I've never read anywhere that the OG demon helped him conquer anybody. I've read
I'll try to find it for you, Grimm, while we continue.
What?
I'll try to find it. But either way, that's up for discussion. But the point is that either way, the smile at the end of the chapter leaves it's
alluding
ambiguous.
to something. Yeah.
Right, it's alluding to something. You don't waste in manga. It's just like a book. You don't waste a sentence for something that's irrelevant. You don't waste a panel showcasing.
Or then again, that might have been, that might have been there to just cause some, well, not really confusion, but to cause like an idea in the reader, like maybe he's gonna try to do something, or maybe he'll just smile because he's like happy, like fuck yeah, finally the new Demon King. So he might have smiled because finally this is gonna go down. So it might have been for positive
For his
thing.
Yeah. I don't know if we've seen that characteristic from any character though. That's why it's hard for me to believe that like he would be happy that his side is winning, instead of like that happy because his niggas are. I don't know. We'll see. We just know that smile.
Wouldn't he be happy that his side was winning?
No, I'm saying we don't see any characters on that side that are like that enthusiastic about a result like that. Like they're not just like sitting there smiling out of nowhere when reinforcements are coming. Like,
fucking Zeldris did. Zeldris was like,
it's exactly
finally
what I was
Gilda.
gonna say too. Next, he had this little smirk on his
Gilda,
face
I'm finally gonna get that.
when he said,
Get that ass.
he was like, "You're not the only ones coming and shit." And he had a smirk on his face and shit too. I don't know. We'll see what that turns out to be if he does any shit. The next thing we'll get on though is the next form that King showed us, Sunflower. Fuck that. Fuck that name bullshit. I'm not gonna put the image on the screen. You guys read the chapter, man. Y'all know what the images look like. Go back to another chapter or look it up on Google. What the second sunflower looked like, because that one was also badass. And then the first sunflower, we could probably compare the three. I think, honestly, in all honesty, I think I'm fucking with the second form of sunflower more than the third.
The third one has a dragon's mouth, man. Like, what are you talking about?
When I first saw that panel where they're charging up the beam, I thought it was multiple mouths inside
Me too,
the mouth.
me too.
Yep.
I was like, this is a Hydra's friggin' Gyarados hyper beam thing. What's going on?
And then it looks like a dragon when it's firing its laser.
Yep. It's
I loved it.
fucking like, oh man, the sunflower is something fucking crazy and dangerous. It's man, the potency that's always had, like whenever against Hendrickson, when they used it to boost up the revenge counter, that was the first instance of his crazy strength. Was another instance in the war. I think it was in the war. Yeah, in the war. After King and Diane showed up to assist the forces of Stigma, he pulled out a sunflower too. Did some catastrophic damage. When else have we seen sunflower? I think that's about it. Have we only seen sunflower like 3 or 4 times?
Probably. I'd say at least half a dozen, because he used it a lot in the original. In the beginning, he was using that. Like, he used it against Helbram once, I think, and then he used it against. And then he used it. But he used it against.
Give that a look up.
Who else did he use? Sunflower. Oh, against. Didn't he use that against Gila in the Necropolis? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. I think it was that. No.
You're wrong. Actually, I think the first time he used it was against Boguila and Jericho after the fighting festival.
Yes.
And I think
Vizel.
he killed Helbram for the second time with the sunflower.
Oh. Who, Helbram?
Yeah. Like, I think he killed him for the second time with sunflower.
I know one time he like cut it in half and shit.
Yeah, well, that was the first time, and then the second time, because he was like a fucking zombie essentially.
Sunflower, though, the 4th form.
Yep. It's an awesome ass form, man.
It's
I want to see that crazy armor shit he pulled before he got his Elvis hairstyle.
Oh, the
I'd
new
like to
good
see-
armor?
Yeah. I want to see that new form of that shit.
Probably
Personally, I
won't
want to
see
see fossilization, like the third form.
I just want him to complete out the full set of 10. Damn it. It's been too long. He
Yeah,
needs...
I don't think he will.
You don't think so?
Well,
No. I mean, I want him to, but I don't think he will. Because when the fuck is he gonna use that orb to see in the dark? Like,
yeah, luminosity.
oh, dude, shit, he might use it to fucking dispel the night created by Chandler. Actually,
That could
But
be a
that's-
thing.
But
I
that's
mean-
already. I thought.
A huge ass
That's
luminosity? Bro.
Hey,
True.
it's 2 times more powerful at least than what it was when we first saw it in its little Saturn ball light show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's
so
gonna
he
be...
might do it. Huh.
Maybe he can shoot light beams and then it's like a miniature sunflower. I don't know.
Man,
I doubt it, but you know.
It
Maybe
should
it
definitely
goes
be
right
upscaled,
into
though.
your eyes and blinds you.
You're right, though. It'll probably be upscaled to a crazy ass degree. But I do think we'll see them. At least I'm hoping with all my heart that we'll see the rest of the forms. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Alright, so let's move on to the next part. So Zeldris canceled out the attack that was coming after the OG demon.
Ruler's back, baby.
He turned that shit on.
And it makes sense because King is full on magic. So that's a really good matchup. A super powerful Fairy King versus someone who can cancel out magic. I like it.
Bro, I was gonna
like
say,
it.
like, this is exactly the fight that I wanted. Because we didn't get this type of shit with Zeldris versus anybody else, or Zeldris and Escanor. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that Zeldris versus Escanor, top 10 most disappointing fights last year. Top 10 most disappointing fights. But this, at least we're getting the makings of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the fact, like people are still debating. I know we are. We're still debating. Like, okay, so did Escanor break through the ruler and Ominous Nebula with magic, or is it physical? Is it the one form that's doing? I don't. Fuck. I just move on. I'm just excited for I hope the King's Eldris fight continues, even with the end of the chapter. Being what it is.
The next big part is old boy Hendy.
Ooh, Hendy.
Let's each get a moment to like talk about Henderson in his entirety, from like the beginning until now. What are your entire thoughts, Fang? Fang?
Hang.
You go ahead, Griever.
All right. Hendy, I always liked Hendy and Dreyfus. From the beginning, I thought they were really cool characters, and in the later half, after the initial arc of Taizai and Hendrickson, of course, Red Demon, Gray Demon Blood, all that shit, and then, move on, I felt like they were underused a lot, because I think they're super strong. We saw them utilize, like, levels of strength, and I love their characters when I watched the anime. When I reread the manga after watching the anime, I like them even more. And Hendrickson as a whole just seemed to go through this crazy. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of, okay, Dreyfus is evil. No, Hendy's evil. Well, actually, the whole time Hendy was evil because Dreyfus sacrificed, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was getting a little topsy-turvy. No, he's the evil one. No, that's the evil one. Back and forth a little bit. But suffice it to say, it just showed a certain level of great friendship between those two. And I like that everything's coming full circle. Hendrickson didn't have the willpower to resist Fraudrin. Dreyfus sacrificed himself. Hendrickson knows it. He was corrupted. He's trying to atone. He hates himself for what he did to Zarathustra. He hates himself for what he did for 10 years, not being strong enough to resist Fraudrin, all this stuff. And at the end of the day, he's the reason the 10 Commandments were released. It's all him. I mean, in light of Fraudrin, but still him in a roundabout way. And it's just kind of like, you know what? The guy's just trying to atone this whole time, and I feel like now he's finally coming full circle. Like, his character arc is quite good as far as a side character in Taizai.
That goes into the philosophy of it, because how do you like atone for those kinds of sins? You've released demons upon the world that have taken countless, not lives, souls. Straight souls. How do you atone for that? How?
That's
Scooby Doo and this shit.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is, man, that's the beauty of Taizai. I mean, we've discussed this before, where every character is actually not. They might be good people, but they've all committed sins. That's the whole point of the series. And Hendrickson's sins could be counted as some of the most heinous as a result, and he doesn't know how to atone, so he's just doing everything he can to try. He knows that he'll never really go to heaven, so to speak. Like, he knows that he's committed too many atrocities, but that's not stopping him. That's just making him a great character. He knows there's no light at the end of his tunnel, but he's still going to walk the path that he is trying to be right, just trying to do the right thing and help everybody, because he thinks even if he helps just that little drop in that huge lake, that's still something. It's better than not, doing it at all. So I think it's a good self-sacrificing thing. He knows he can't atone. So, but he's trying nonetheless. It's a fruitless effort, but an effort, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Personally, even beyond that, and I agree with what you just said, but I love the fact that he managed to fool me. Or at least I didn't expect what he was going to do, because I bought it like he was, because it made perfect sense for him to be this loyal dog of Ludociel, because after all, he doesn't know how to pay for his sins, and he sees this angelic figure, and he sees this opportunity to finally figure shit out and basically be able to rebuild what he's destroyed, even if it's just a small bit. So I thought he was, again, just loyal 100% to him, and to see him pull some mafia shit where he's like, boom, purge, and expel him from Margaret's body, and having this connection with Gilsander, where he finally said, and of course the translation was kind of fucked up, but he to deliver those final words from Zarathustra, that was really cool, and enabling Gilsander to flee with Margaret, and then ultimately telling Ludociel, look, I don't care what happens to me. You can use my body if you will. You kill me if you will. Then use my body. I don't care. Let's do this. That's a beautiful thing for a side counter in Taizai, and yeah, and again, the most surprising thing is that I didn't catch it. Like it genuinely took me by surprise, which is always a good thing in a story.
What's up, Keeson?
Hendrickson as a character, I definitely liked him more as a villainous character, I guess I should say, than, the kind of this hopelessly trying to redeem himself. And as fellow podcasters have already taken all the good bits, so I don't want to step on your toes. But yeah, like, he's trying to do the honorable thing, even though there may not be much pay at the end of the day for him. So, and plus his decision at the end of this chapter, I mean, we were talking about that, God, how many chapters ago, that it was probably going to happen.
Yeah,
so I guess I am enjoying that that's going to happen. Maybe I'll like him more.
Maybe.
I didn't. Here's what I didn't like, because like you already put it, Keisha, everybody's already mentioned the majority of strong points. So wherever was I supposed to get a hint?
That this was a gamble?
That this nigga was scheming. Yeah.
I call bullshit. Check out my review. Everyone who's watching this, check out my review. I called this yesterday. I said, I don't buy this. This is bullshit. I still like that Hendrickson is trying to do a good thing, but I call total bullshit. He did not plan this shit from the start. Do not give me that crap.
It would be different if, and this is like, we have to remember, we're all Taizai fans here. We all love the story. We're all okay with what's going on. It's, at least give us hints that are findable, or that, like, even if they're like secluded or like laid out there. And please, all viewers, if you guys have information that could enlighten us to a better setup for this plot point, then please drop it in the Discord or comment on it in the comment section below. Because I don't know where I was supposed to see a hint that there was some machinations going on. Now, with that same thing being said, we could use the fact that we were presented with the Breath of Bliss at the same exact time period in which Hendrickson began to act in this excessively obedient servitude of manner. Now, we do know that he had respect and honor for the goddesses when they arrived. We saw that whenever Rudisil took the body. But it's a little bit, it was so drastic. And I guess that we can call that as the hint as to why Henderson is acting this drastically for goddesses. We covered it with the whole druid love thing, but it may not be the case. It may have been that he had a scheme, just like he put it now, to fucking save Margaret and get the depossession to happen. I don't see it, but if you guys can find another excuse besides that, then it is what it is. But I don't see it.
I mean, personally, I don't even see the need for a hint, even. It was a great twist. That's all that it was.
I have to agree with Grimm. I didn't like the twist. I like the fact that Hendrickson kind of saw it. It would have been better had he, because remember, this is Hendrickson. We all agree that he committed all these atrocities and stuff, and he knows he can't atone, and he knows that he's the reason the demons have been released. So it made perfect sense for his character. Also being a druid, it made perfect sense for his character when he first saw the goddesses to go, my salvation is here. He didn't need the Breath of Bliss because he was already like, they can do it. They have been released. They can stop it. They can stop the sins I've committed on the world. They can help prevent this. So his devotion was genuine right at the start. You cannot convince me that right then when he first saw the goddesses, he was like, oh, no. They're going to be evil. I'm going to have to wait.
But you have to remember, wait a second, because you also have to remember one thing. Hendrickson was, sure, he's a druid, but he never was all that into the life of a druid. Because remember, as a child, he was the one that had to watch over the corpses until they decayed, and that's why from that desert you basically stopped doing that shit. He developed his acid power. So, and then when they saw the druid saw what he has become, what he's able to do, they basically exiled him. So, I don't buy that he has this strong devotion like other druids might have for the goddess clan. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have any, but there has to be some
As I
sort
said,
of
yeah,
sure,
well, Fang, what
continue.
I was saying was, couldn't it be like he saw that as his salvation? He's like, I've committed all this shit across the world. The demons are taking over. What the hell did I do? And he sees the goddess as a shining beacon. I was thinking more like not so much his druid heritage, but he knows about the goddesses, and he realizes they're the ones that can help me atone for what little I can. They can help
That's
me fight. You
that's
know.
the only thing that I don't necessarily I can't I'm not going to agree with completely, but it does make sense, Griever. The part we all understand that right when the goddesses came out, there was genuine glory, and he was in genuine awe of the situation.
And
And
why
the
wouldn't there be?
Yeah,
He didn't
exactly.
know any
But
better
but
yet. We
but
knew
hold on.
You know.
But after that, it does not mean that he lost his ability to reason. He was indeed in that same awe, and we was did see congruent. But my stance is that over time and seeing the actuality of the situation, he may have indeed developed this plan. Now, whether it's I think it was in between the time
Agreed.
period when we first saw the Breath of Bliss being declared to be what it was on Death, Pierce, and the others, when they were sitting at the table with Rudisill, and in between from when they first met Rudisill and Margaret took Margaret's body. In between that time period is when I'm believing that he furnished this plan to have it happen in this manner. Because we have to remember, out of all regular humans or regular non-broken people in the series, Dreyfus and Hendrickson have literally been in this situation before. Somebody in their care, or somebody they care dearly about, has been possessed with not the best of intentions. So it is indeed, it may be their job, or they may have the most experience out of everybody to be able to deal with that. And to have them deal with it in this manner is super intuitive, super secretive, to the point that I wouldn't even think that Henderson would be capable of it. But I just
I
want to
like
see
it.
more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like it, and I agree with you, Grimm. I think we agree on this point. Is that he could have come up with this plan, and I believe Hendrickson, as I said, not affected by the Breath of Bliss, did see the corruption and realize what was going on. But his initial thing, when Gilthunder says from the very start, he's like, it was a gamble. No, not from the very start. From the start of their planning stages, after he found out more about Rudesiel and started talking to him,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
You know, then he kind of went, you know what? I might need this little backup plan in the back of my mind because I don't want Gilthunder to go through. You know, Margaret shouldn't die. Blah blah blah. So he probably formulated that plan, as you said, somewhere in between. But it did not start. He didn't look when Margaret was first possessed and go, "Oh shit, I better remember to use purge." You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But
One thing about Purge that I genuinely loved, and I'm not sure if anyone has brought it up or not, but he says that Purge essentially like takes out any impurity from someone or something, implying that Ludocian himself as an impurity in Margaret's body. Like
Yeah.
again, one thing I love about Taizai is that if you really think about it, there are no good guys versus bad guys. Angels aren't necessarily good. I mean, look at Ludociel; he's a massive fucking racist. Uh,
Yeah.
Demons, sure, they eat human souls, but that's what they eat to sustain sustain themselves. Just like we, have we eat meat for example, or a fucking lion hunts. Now, I'm not sure that doesn't excuse them because they're more, you know, they have they're more advanced than animals per se. But again, it doesn't really. It shows that there's no good versus evil overall team. Just people with their own ideals and interests having and fighting this war. In a sense, it's pointless. Just like Melioras and Elizabeth kind of reached that conclusion 3,000 years ago, and it must be stopped for by all means, because it's just at this point, what's the point of fighting? Like why are they even fighting in the first place?
yeah.
There, but
We don't
as
know.
as Grimm has pointed out many times, there is no good guys and bad guys in this series. This series is
Exactly.
very complex in the fact that everybody it has selfish desires. Everybody has committed a sin. That's the whole point. So I do
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
I
But
know, I know, but I'm just saying that Purge reinforces that idea a lot, which I love because Purge is supposed like Purge recognizes Ludociel as poison, uh, toxic, an evil entity that must be
well,
rejected
uh,
from Margaret's body.
Well, Fang, that's the thing. See, you see it a different way than I did. In my review, I mentioned that at first I thought the same thing, and I went, "Well, it's technically a goddess and stuff." Then I realized that's why they put the. It can also get rid of impurities like sludge in water. If you pour oil into water, it would
Hmm.
expel the oil to go back to clean drinking water. the reason it can purge Rudesiel is not because Rudesiel is an evil racist. It's because it's not natural. It's not a natural state. It's an impurity in nature. The original state of Margaret's body does not include two souls. That's all it's doing. It doesn't matter if Elizabeth was in Margaret's body, I think Purge could still expel Elizabeth. Not because Elizabeth is evil, but because Purge is not...
I never said that.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's because Rudesiel was a racist evil. Sorry.
No. I didn't say that it's because Lucian is necessarily evil.
Oh, what'd you say, Kishin?
No, I was thinking about in the more textbook, like he has these impure ideals, and that's kind of what, got him pushed out or bitch slapped in a way.
The very fact that we're getting this new element of Purge, or not new element, we're seeing it using this new instance of Purge, it's definitely going to add some more speculation to it. I do like the fact that they gave us that example that doesn't involve any actual humans. It's a physical situation where there's an impurity inside the water and then it separates it. That allows us to use it in a more broad sense. Where it makes me agree a little bit more with what Griever saying, that it's more of whenever there's something in its original state, Purge will help return it to its original state and remove whatever addition was added to it, whether it's a purification or whether it's an impurification, whatever it may be. Purge seems to act in that manner. We've never seen it in any other instance besides this, or up against demons, so it's hard to get a lot of info with just two examples.
That's not true, because you're supposed to kill a red demon, I think it was, when he came back into the story, when he saved the
Zanatras
trio.
Yeah. Yep. He stabbed him in the head and used Purge, I believe. Right?
Fair enough.
Yep.
But I will say one thing, that brings up an interesting point. Could Purge get rid of the Sunshine out of Escanor? Just curious. If I'm just saying, if my take on it is correct, and it's all about original states and what's natural in the natural world, like Circle of Life shit, that's all Purge is doing, then because it didn't kill Rudesiel, and it didn't kill Margaret, it just returned them to where they're supposed to be. So would that be able to purge the grace out of Escanor? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
But the whole thing with Purge, and I like that you brought that up, is that it's a variation or magic taught to these servants of the goddesses. They're not complete in any instance or in any manner. They're not complete servants. They're not complete goddesses. They don't have complete magic of the goddesses. They don't have complete control of Ark. They're not complete in anything of the goddesses, but they are descendants of them. They do have hints and little relishes of them. So it would be interesting to see that if there's a way to give and remove graces, what if Purge is a variant of that? If that may be the case. I don't think it is. There's no hints to that, but that's an interesting thought that you bring it up like that. Like, what if they have a knockoff variant of something that they have to pop out commandments or pop out graces or some shit like that? That could be the case. But that would be too easy. That would be too effective in any circumstance, so I don't think that's the case. I don't think so.
True. But then Hendrickson also said it's because Rudesiel was so distraught and let his guard down and stuff that happened. I'm assuming that Hendrickson's own life force wouldn't be enough to expel a commandment from, Zeldris, for example. He'd be on guard, or the commandment would be, or something, Like he said, the only reason he was able to do it is because that was totally blindsided. Yeah, he was weakened. He was blindsided. He let his guard down. He was distraught over mail. So there's a possibility, because he said that probably wouldn't have worked, or it's implied that would not have worked had he tried it at any other circumstance.
All right, so more from that point. I know we kind of hit on this a little before, but I guess would it be fair to say that King is having the advantage, or ended with the advantage, in the fight against Zeldris in the recent chapter? Or is that not the case?
I mean, I think they're kind of in a stalemate, but as King is fast approaching, I think he'll eventually get the upper hand. Because as we saw, the buff there was able to kind of beat Zeldris' ass a bit. Like, he got that striking on the chin.
Exactly. And then he I mean, that's just one hit, you're right, but he outmaneuvered him. You would think that wouldn't be the case. So what is keep going. I'll be right back.
But yeah, so like I was saying, and plus, when the king is gonna get it, because he's gonna get it eventually, he's gonna be able to use more forms of Chesipa, so he is gonna overpower Zeldris at some point. Maybe he'll be even able to take on both the OG demon and Zeldris at the same time. I mean, we just don't know how powerful King is. Also, depends on how much power he expended while on his way there, because keep in mind he did say it consumes a lot of magical power to use Chesipa in this way from like such a huge distance. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, for me, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but this leads me to believe that okay, he's got the ruler activated, but the swords from increase and the bear form, I forget what form that is, second form, or whatever. Yeah, guardian form. Yeah, they're clearly physical. They can't be magical because they're actually hitting him, right? Or Zeldris has to block. My issue right now is Omnibus Nebula is not activated. It can't be because Omnibus Nebula.
Oh no, it's not. It's not.
Right. Yeah. So what? But my question is, why not? So I don't think Zeldris
because wouldn't that let me just because wouldn't that just absorb the commandments towards him, and he knew they were coming.
Why would Omnibus Nebula drag? Oh, because of the gravity, you think?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I would say is he's not using because it's indiscriminate. Like even we saw that they had to prep for him to use that, regardless of who you're working with. So that's one of those.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things I would say. Like when you're with a team, you don't use it unless you're prepared or unless it's part of a scheme or something like that. That's what I would assume. Now you're right to bring that up. He's not doing everything possible, but please don't get upset when I say this, Griever. I feel like that kind of argument is like. It's kind of cheap in almost any scenario. Like, well, why didn't he do this instead, or why didn't he do that instead?
No. I'm not using it as an argument. I'm asking an honest question as to why. I think there's a reason, and I think Fang brought up an excellent point because we know it doesn't affect things like the rocks and stuff like that. But the commandments are pure spirit, magic, something like that. I mean, this might affect them.
Pure energy.
Right. So I think Fang's right. That's why I asked the question. I didn't even think of that. And I think I got a good answer. Is the fact that that's why he's not using it because there's no reason that he couldn't use Omnibus Nebula to fight against Increase and Guardian. It doesn't make any sense. But he's doing it on purpose. So that was my thing. I don't think it's cheapening the argument. Like for the fight thing, I think there's a reason Zelda's not using it. I think Fang's right. Thanks for the answer. Now I know.
You're welcome.
I agree.
We'll see if that's the case because that would be. We already speculated earlier about the OG having intentions with the commandment, so it wouldn't be out of the perception for there to be a way for you to interact with them like that. That doesn't seem crazy. What is crazy is, well, that's not too crazy either. What I'm about to say because we saw it happen, or we saw it spoke about when they were first entering the Dark Cocoon. But Merlin's commandment responded to the presence of the other free and sentient commandments. We have to remember that we're not talking about if you're next to somebody else with a commandment that they'll act in this particular manner, because we've seen the 10 commandments within their wielders all in one place. We're talking about free unwielded commandments.
Four actually.
Yeah, four of them.
Four.
Yep, five attracted four, and four caused the release or the attraction of the fifth one. How do you guys feel about that? Whenever we saw the dark cocoon, it did tell us that the command was being attracted to the other ones. Merlin did say that, yeah. So
love it.
Yeah, the way I personally see it is, because the commandments were four and they were going towards that direction, like they gained some sort of sentience. Because that theory, I believe it to be 100% true. Because if you remember when Ghoster went into Miles' mind, he had this conversation with Miles, but the commandments themselves were like, "Don't go away, don't expel us from your body, keep us here." It was basically the Venom shit from like a Spider-Man. So they essentially became self-aware and became intelligent, where they didn't want to escape from Mael. So that's why Ghoster had to put in that work. But then, as they were expelled, they found the other five and wanted to become one with them. And so whenever whatever Marina had it stashed, I have no idea. But Marashira's command resonated with that, and basically left their body enjoying with the other four, thus becoming five. And now they're about to basically fuse into one. I'm not really sure if it's gonna be instant, or if Meliodas will have to take another half a day to consume them all. If Lodocia, for example, doesn't absorb them, or the OG demon, or whatever else might happen, a million things could happen. But the main thing is that they gain that self awareness, I think, and that's why they were able to attract number one, the commitment from Merashira, and number two, they sense the fire being absorbed by Meliodas.
Meliodas.
That's what I think.
Ooh, this is this
Yeah.
is this is what we talked about in the beginning. The fact that all the possibilities are now widened up and spread out. We've elaborated upon several of them that involve several different individuals. So you guys in the comment section, tell us what you think is going to happen with the commandments, and who's going to get a grasp of them. Is it going to be Meliodas? Is it going to be the OG demon? Is it going to be Zeldris? Is some fucking random fucker going to come out of nowhere and get it? Is a demon king going to pop out of Hawk's eyes and grab that shit? Is Mama Hawk going to fly in and eat them shits? What's going to happen with that shit, though? What's going to happen with that?
I like Mama Hawk. Actually, as I said, I love this because this is something that, as Fang mentioned, we saw when Gotha went into Male's mind, and people were saying to me when I had my whole the grace of sunshine theory thing with Escanor. Go check that video out, guys, if you're interested. Won't, but the fact that I stated the reason that I believe my theory for the grace of sunshine when it was expelled from Male went looking and trying to find someone that could withstand its power, because as we stated, Escanor's a freak, but why? And that's part of the theory, but is that the grace is self-aware. The grace is self-aware. It might take the manifestation of a person. It might be just the manifestation of, a light. Who knows? But this just confirms it, because part of my evidence was the fact of things in Male's mind. And one of the debunks that I got a few comments on was the fact that this was inside Male's mind. That was like a representation. It wasn't actually physical. But now it's in black and white saying they gained self-awareness. They became almost sentient, similar to, as Fang was saying, like the symbiote in Spider-Man.
Well, here's the thing.
So-
Well, actually, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that's bullshit. The fact they were saying that, because if you remember, whenever Ghost uses a nightmare terror, if there's another presence or another entity there that is self. Remember when in the Kingdom of Fruition, when he used the nightmare terror on Dreyfus, he got expelled quickly by Frodon because he was dead inside of him. So
Exactly.
the same thing applies.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
from that point on, they were self-aware. Also, I want to comment a bit about the sunshine thing. I think it might be that sunshine is self-aware in a sense, because a grace is much more powerful than a commandment. We have 10 commandments and only 4 graces. So, if 2 or more commandments can gain self-awareness, I don't really see why a grace, especially a powerful one like sun or sunshine, couldn't, and thus find a suitable body. Maybe Escanor's prideful personality is the personality that the grace gained eventually over time. That might be the case. Again, we don't really know, but it's worth speculating at the very least.
But as we always said, we've stated it many times, and it was part of my evidence in my video, was graces versus commandments was always quality over quantity. So as you said, Fang, why, if it takes 3 or 4 commandments together to gain self-awareness, why wouldn't one grace as powerful as sunshine already have self-awareness? And we know that clearly, because when Male became Male again, the commandments were clearly expelled from his body, because then they were just randomly flying towards the cocoon somewhere.
Well, hold on, because I have a problem with the way that you guys are using, or it seems like you guys are alluding to what the word and the phrase self-aware and like sentient are saying. I don't think that these guys can like fucking have a conversation with you, or that these guys can go get a
Well,
drink.
no, I'm talking about sentience on a very primal, basic.
Yeah,
thing.
on a primal level, on a very basic, like
Okay.
like a baby eats, shits, and cries.
Yeah,
like
that they have a goal, and they would do everything conceivably possible that they could do to achieve that goal.
Exactly. Something very, very, very basic, basic bare bones, but still to a level of self-awareness.
The reason why I bring that up is not it's an outside reference, and I just don't want Nakaba to go to this point. In One Piece, we got an example of a Yonko, Big Mom. She had a weapon that she created from her own soul, and because that thing had portions of personality or sentience, it chose to betray her and join the Straw Hat side. That was arguably top 10 bullshit I had read, like ever. So like,
Nah, I kind of choose to disagree with you on that. That was probably top three that I've ever read. So to me, it's even more heinous.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I know what Grimm's trying to say. I know
yes.
what he's
Yeah,
afraid
me
of,
too.
and don't worry about that. As I said, I don't think that he's going to go to that level. I think it's very bare bones, as I said, like a toddler or a baby. They feel the draw of the cocoon, and so they're just heading towards it because it's like electricity. It's just an energy source. They are always trying to find ground. Like
Or just kind of like a child going to its mom,
right,
basically trying
right.
to find its mom.
It's a very simple, basic need. It's a
Okay.
desire. It's nothing. It's
Hmm.
nothing crazy. So I think. I mean, maybe if all 10 were gathered outside of a host, maybe they'd have a little
Hmm.
more, kind of like what was that? The left hand of the Soul King in Bleach or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
When he was fighting
Hmm.
Mayuri, he
Mhm.
slowly gains more intelligence the more he interacted
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
world. Maybe the commandments are similar
Hmm.
to that. Maybe that also leads into my theory about Sunshine being Rosa, the girl that saved Escanor as a child,
Mhm.
was because that was 3,000 years of wandering the mortal world looking for a host. Interacting that long made her actually like true self-awareness, what Grimm's discussing about.
Well,
So, for all we know.
I don't think it was Rosa, basically because of one reason. Um, Rosa, the last we saw her was when she put Escalon into that barrel and basically helped them escape. But he already gained master strength before that point, so I don't think it was Rosa that.
Yeah,
But
he
then
already
again,
had.
you might never know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was thinking more along the lines like I know it was within Gother's mind, but as I said, this was also remember that this was memories kind of being twisted around and stuff, so we
Oh
don't have
yeah,
a
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean it's a lukewarm theory. I'm more confident in my Sunshine Commandment original Escanor being special theory.
Hmm.
But the Rosa part, it still leads me to believe something because why would she say sorry and stuff? But that's for another time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so.
But for this time, the last thing that we'll address is the the faith of Zeldris, and I phrase it like that because is his faith in Meliodas misplaced, or the
No.
verifications of their relationship
No.
does it solidify that what he promised to his brother is true? And the reason why I say the verifications is that even in purgatory, Meliodas, after 3,000 years of not communicating, after an instance of where they had to fight and kill each other, he still felt remorse for not being there for his brother back 3,000 years ago when he had to encounter a situation with his love and that he learned about. Um, we don't see that much reference to the relationship from Zeldris' side, but immediately when his brother came back and told him about this thing that he loves, he immediately gave in to his brother. Immediately. As if,
Well, if you remember, he told Ban because he was kind of proud about it in a way. I think Middle even said, not to toot my own horn, but Zealous looked quite a lot up to me back in those days.
yeah.
So you get some hints here and there about, and Zealous in a way is kind of like Mile in the way that he looks up to his older brother. Not with that sort of devotion, but still he looked up to Meliodas, or at least highly respected his power and abilities.
Yeah, but you would. My questioning before this clarification, or this reaffirmation was drawn in this chapter, was that over time, that relationship can wane. Like, there can be. Like we mentioned, they not only fought each other, he was responsible for the death of Meliodas. He literally like just recently sent his girlfriend or activated his girlfriend's curse to cause him even more pain. And in that same instance, he was talking about this wretched woman causing his brother pain. We
Hmm.
we know for a fact that they love each other. I am just not sure. This is the last panel that we see here in the chapter of Zeldris looking up and saying,
But you have to remember from Zeldris and Chandler's perspective, Elizabeth is a plague that must be dealt with. She is the cause of Meliodas' suffering because, in a sense, she gave him emotions, but it was because of her that he gained those emotions to be able to suffer in the first place. So, in their twisted way of thinking, they are helping him.
No, no, yeah, I get that's not what I'm arguing. I understand that like Elizabeth is bad. She's a horrible bitch. She's helped cause this entire schism and war. I agree with that. What I'm talking about is this how do I put this? In stories, whenever there's hope, the author will take away hope on purpose to make the recovery of it or the resolution that much greater. This seems like that. Him looking up, seeing the commandments coming, it's like, okay, finally, it's happening. What I've always wanted. Like we talked about before, there are no real antagonists here. They all have really good relations. They're all evil in their own right. All the characters. There are clear antagonists, but they all have their own evil side. So what I'm thinking is that Zeldris as a character, this is a high point for him, where he thinks he's gonna get his gift of the return of Gelda, but it's not gonna be the case. It's not gonna be how he thinks it's gonna be, and it's funny that it's gonna play out like this because in all kinds of literature, all kinds of stereotypical movies, you see that whenever you make a deal with a demon, it never works out to be how you want it to be. So it'll be interesting if Nakaba uses that same instance, even though they're brothers, that a deal with a demon isn't gonna work out how you want it to be.
Oh, you think that
Or it might be a high point for him, but it's not going to be Meliodas to receive those commandments. It's going to be Ludushel, for example, and thus he is still going to have that high moment, but still not going to get what he wants, at the least for a little while.
This nigga just tried to slide in his theory, bro.
I'm gonna say Grimm. I'll agree with Grimm on this, except I'm gonna put a little bit of a Griever spice on top of this.
That space in there,
we're gonna do this. We're gonna say that I agree. He is not actually going to this is not going to be his salvation. He's not going to be a happy ending with Gelda at this moment, and the reason isn't because he can't trust his brother, but it's because he can't trust the original demon. The original demon's going to stab him in the back. And then, Meliodas becomes Demon King. Sure, he's supposed to get the thing, but what if Zeldris dies? So at the end, he succeeded. He's supposed to be with his love, but at the end of the day, he ends up dying here. What if he ends up dying? Then Gelda's been, she gets unsealed, and Meliodas is Demon King, promised to bring her Gelda, didn't promise to keep him alive, So... another twist on it, sort of idea. I think
if he could do it, I think Meliodas would revive his brother. If he could do it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm just saying, initially, because Grimm's talking about this moment right here. He thinks that this is his moment. In a few minutes, he's going to be with the one he loves.
No. I'm saying that this moment right now is alluding to there being a downfall for his desires. Like the fact that Nakaba drew him looking up and thinking it won't be long now, to me means something's gonna fuck you over.
Right, and I just don't think it's gonna be Meliodas. I think it's something else.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are Rudisel for Fang, OG Demon for Griever, and Meliodas for myself. What do you think, Keisha?
I'm thinking we're going to be seeing Emo Otis in a minute.
Emo. Okay. All right.
Which I also had it was a random thought that I had while I was doing my live reaction of the chapter. It's like, with every death that, I almost called him Emo Otis, Meliodas has had over the last 3,000 years, and bits and pieces of his emotions have been ripped away and left in purgatory. He's going to be, almost a completely different character when the two fuse back together.
Yes.
So...
No.
yeah, I would think that he would probably try and give Gelda back. Because it's like, hey, I have my love, you have your love. Let's try and be happy, even though this world tries to screw us over too many times.
Because, as Keishan said, it might be two different people, but if I'm recalling correctly, Meliodas still, for lack of a better word, as the leader of the Ten Commandments, still loved his younger brother, and as ripped from his emotions as the captain of the Seven Deadly Sins, still loved his brother. So even if love plus love equals hate, I'm not, or betrayal, I'm going to be a little weirded out, sort of idea. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying that both versions of Meliodas, whether the demon or the captain, both of them still held Zeldris as a brother.
Yeah, and the demon fell in love with the goddess bitch. So
enough.
Yeah, we know he can be vulnerable. Because I know we talked about this before a long time ago too, Keishan, is that the nigga we saw in chapter 1, page 1, fucking episode 1 of the story in the Boar sack, that is not the original Meliodas. That is a shell with less emotions than before. It's not. So we're gonna see a different nigga when he gets all his emotions back. It'll be a different nigga than it was in chapter 1.
Where I see tragedy befalling Gelda, especially, is if Meliodas, does get all the powers, all of his emotions back, and he dispels that like bubble thing over her and the other demons or other vampires. Sorry, it's going to be in the middle of the day, and she's going to burn a Christmas tree 3 months after Christmas.
Shut your ass up, bro.
And Zeldris is like, you son of a bitch! You couldn't have waited 5 minutes for sunset.
Well, do remember, Keishan, that bubble, that's what Zeldris sealed the vampires in. The other vampires are all dead. We don't know. We don't know actually confirmed.
Well, actually, with the
exceptions,
with the because Gillas is not there, we know she was sealed again by Mel. But Orlando, or Ronnie, whatever the fuck his name is, that dude that became Arthur's like friend after Melon experimented on him, the kid, the vampire.
Yeah, Orlando or something.
Orlando, yeah.
All right. One last point. We're gonna do the panel of the week before we head out, but I just wanted to point out here, right when the beaker is about to break, we see a perfect titty shot of Merlin's breasts. They're nice and perky, with the bottom of her dress cupping.
Of course you were.
Yep. The bottom.
Always looking for them titties.
You already know, bro. It's a necessary thing. Another thing to notice. The gauntlets or the shoulder shields that Merlin has, they do look a little bit similar to what Bruticil has on. I remember that from back in the flashback 4, and now just seeing it recently in this chapter, they do look similar. So I'm interested to see if that dress that Merlin has is a combination of demonic armor and angelic armor. If that's like what we've been seeing or whatever. Like, is this dress some type of like demon dress or whatever that makes your like your titties bigger, or like makes spells work a little bit more, something, and are the gauntlets like good against arc magic or something like that, or like do they make the shadows of your titties go on a certain angle so they look bigger?
Only he would come up with this crap.
Because we haven't been alluded to that.
Okay, actually, let's get you to something serious because I want my turn. So the meat of the perfect panel was. Let's leave that away. Let's be mature. Okay, so my panel was right after Henderson purges Rodoshiel, and you see Gilson hold Margaret. That rack of titties was fucking huge.
Oh my nigga! Get serious! Shut the fuck up!
Yo, Nakaba Suzuki is a god when it comes to that. So look, I'm just saying, they look really fucking nice. That was my panel of the week.
Bruh.
Yeah. And Gil Thunder's trying to cup a feel too. So.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like, no, I'm just trying to catch her from falling over. And it's like,
yeah, by them titties.
And Gil Thunder's about to like, if you dare touch it, I will zap you.
Really
motherfucker.
I every single time I walk out the front door, I tell my wife, "Watch out, it's icy. You're gonna fall." I mean, that's my excuse. So I mean,
just grab him. Oh, baby. What about you, Keishan and Griever, panels of the week?
Keishan?
You go first, Greg.
I scanned through them. I like a lot of panels, especially the whole Dragon Hyper Beam mouth from Sunflower. But I think mine is because it's something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about it, but it's the panel where Hendrickson like holds his hand like across his chest and just says farewell Dreyfus and stuff. Because I think that's our last of seeing Hendrickson as Hendrickson. I think that's our last shot. That's our farewell, not to Dreyfus. That's our farewell as viewers to Hendrickson. And you see all the flames erupt, and he's got this smile on his face, like he's like, I know I can't atone, but at least I saved one more life before I died.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saved Margaret, and I helped Gil Thunder. Like it's kind of a like you just look at it, and it's just kind of like, damn. Like I think that's our last time seeing the character. So
yeah, hopefully not, bro. He's a dirty nigga, but I fuck with him.
Oh yeah.
He's better as a villain. Like I.
So he's holding on to that.
He was.
He was a good
villain. Fun character that way. But anyway, my panel is the Dragon Blast from Sunflower. Like looking at it, comparing it to the mountain that had the castle on it and everything, and it's like that is just a monstrous, like town-sized blast.
That shit big as fuck. You niggas suck, though. That's right. Don't let niggas tell you that the chastity fold isn't mountain range level. We've seen since the beginning of Taizai, the chastity fold is mountain range level. A mountain range level. I'm a whole mountain range, my nigga. The Alps, bitch. That's the chastity fold. Take it out. Bam! One hit.
I didn't know Sunflora could use Hyper Beam, but sure, damn. Next time I play Pokemon, I'm getting Sunflora up in here.
All right, guys. That's gonna be it for 295. Check out everybody's channels. This is a great podcast. We got a lot of content out, get a lot of ideas out, a lot of theories. As we mentioned in the beginning, this chapter is very speculative. There's a lot of threads that could and will lead into other things. So make sure to hop into the comment section and tell us what you thought about it. Hashtag Merlin Titties to get a name shout out in the little box right here where we have all the sins posters. We put nigga shout outs in there and shit for the this year. So make sure hashtag Merlin Titties and little comment be like, oh, I love Merlin Titties, or like I wonder what Merlin's ass tastes like, or whatever you want to comment. Just hashtag that Merlin Titties and we'll get you a shout out next episodes. Check out Fang Strizer's channel for more 7 Deadly Sins, Black Clover, all kinds of different content. Check out Griever's channel for Shigeki no Soma, 7 Deadly Sins, and One Piece. Yeah, One Piece to do. And then check out Griever's channel.
2-piece.
Yeah, 3-piece. Check out Griever's or Keisha's channel for Trash Hero, One Piece.
Hey.
Oh.
One Punch. And actually, guys, I just dropped my One Punch Man live reaction. You guys should check that out on the channel. The podcast is coming up in like 3 or 4 days. I had a lot of shit on my plate. We already recorded it though, so check that out. Make sure to like that shit. Hop into the Discord so you guys can vote in the polls for the podcast. We'll have your answers and your responses read. And check out the polls so we can actually calculate your thoughts. We'll see you boys next time. Like the video. Hashtag Merlin Titties. Hashtag Merlin Titties. Yo!